Culture is commonly associated with fine arts and good manners. Usually, when we refer to a cultured person, we mean one who reads great books and engages in intellectual decisions. But for the purpose of our analysis of the relationship of culture to management, this definition is actually too narrow. In this lesson, we shall be concerned with a much broader view of culture, one that sees it as broadly affecting the way that people live and think both in and outside their places of employment. It follows from the previous slide that after studying this lesson, we would be able to understand the concept of organizational culture and analyze its components and also understand the role of culture in the field of management. If I say that a particular group has a culture of shaking hands when they meet, what does my word culture refer to? Here it refers to the behavior patterns of that particular group. But at the same time, there may be another group which believes that shaking hands is not a good habit, especially between opposite genders. Due to this, they prefer saying just a verbal hello to their colleagues. Now this group has a culture of thinking that people of opposite genders should not shake hands with one another. So here the word culture refers to the belief of the group. In a third case, the word culture may refer to the behavior that we have learned and we share, as in shaking hands with anybody, be it a male or a female at workplace, is not a taboo. There is nothing wrong about it. We learn it over the period of our lives, made it a culture, and might share it with others. Now this is something really interesting. Did you know that in Greece, a normal work day is from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. 6 days a week? Or, for that matter, in US, if you don't maintain an eye contact, you are considered as untrustworthy. And most astonishingly, number 7, auspicious in India, is considered unlucky in Singapore and Kenya. Cultural difference, you see. Culture has various components. There can be material culture, which refers to the man-made things like food, clothing, equipments, etc. Ecology, which refers to the physical layout that possibly influences organizational culture. Then there can be non-material culture, which would refer to the social structure, the norms, rituals, ceremonies, techniques, etc. Cultural taboos, that would include activities that are considered unfavorable or immoral, and language variations pertaining to specific language associated with a group. When it comes to corporate culture, it has certain specific characteristics. For example, it would call for a common observed behavior. It has certain well-established standards of behavior and values. It provides a strict set of rules and set of beliefs about employee relations. At the same point of time, corporate culture calls for an overall feel of the ambience, layout, interaction with each other and outsiders. But all said and done, there is no specific uniformity in work culture. While organizational cultures can develop in a number of different ways, the process usually involves some version of the steps shown in the slide. It may start when a single person has an idea for a new enterprise, or when the founder brings in one or more key people and creates a core group that shares a common vision with the founder. That is, all in this core group believe that the idea is a good one, is workable, is worth running some risks for, and is worth the investment of time, money and energy that will be required. Sometimes it may be triggered when the founding core group begins a concerted effort to create an organization by raising funds, obtaining patents, incorporating, locating space, building, and so on. And lastly, a culture may begin to be formed when others are brought into the organization and a common history begins to be built. This time, to check our progress, we discuss if the culture across the globe is the same. What do you say, friends? Are they same? Can they be same all over? Obviously, the answer is no. The culture across the globe are not same because they vary on parameters like ecology, sociology, structure, material and non-material culture, language, etc. Well, some examples may be that Indians consider number 13 as unlucky. Japanese bend a bit while greeting others. Now an important question. If culture is that important, how is it to be maintained? Maintaining culture requires the selection of entry-level personnel, placement in the job, having job mastery, measuring and rewarding performances, and adhering to important values. But as we know, if ever a change in culture is required, the change leader needs to set realistic goals, involve employees in the change process, manage employee behavior and communication, socialize new employees, and most importantly, build up anti-resistance mechanism so as to ensure a smooth change without offending anyone. Culture reduces the danger of miscommunication in two ways. First, there is no need to communicate items about which shared beliefs and values exist. Sharing provides guidelines and cues to help the receiver interpret message. Shared beliefs and values that compose culture help generate identification and attachment. In making decisions and taking actions, people who feel a sense of commitment automatically evaluate alternatives in terms of their impact on the organization. Because of the prevailing culture, organizational members have a set of basic assumptions and preferences. This leads to a more efficient decision-making process because there are fewer disagreements about which premise should prevail. Till now, we have understood the importance of culture of an organization. At this juncture, it becomes quintessential for us to realize the importance of culture for the individuals. Since individuals attach values to cultural beliefs and practices, it sometimes results in strong cultural influences that become their habits, difficult to be given up. Culture becomes so important for an individual because in order to survive successfully, he has to adapt himself to the norms of the new organization he joins in. This adherence of culture, due to its importance discussed in the previous slide, becomes the prime reason for the cultural conflicts. At times, the employees become so resentful to cultural change that they show it off by open conflict. In extreme cases, some of the dissatisfied employees also happen to leave the job. For a change manager, it becomes very important hence to manage these conflicts before they become too big to be managed. This ensures a satisfied workforce as well as a smooth change in the organizational culture as required. Now the question is, how to manage these conflicts? For the successful conflict management of organizational cultural change, it is quintessential for the management of the organization to understand and adopt the culture of the place or area its operations are based in. This is because it is most likely to attract its workforce from the same area. It is also required of every management to be culturally aware and to be able to integrate the change with the present customs rather than ignoring them completely. In the end, let us give a brief look at what we have covered in this lesson. We have covered the definition of the word culture. Culture refers to the common beliefs, values, customs, and practices of a group. Directly or indirectly, this culture at times may become a hurdle in creating an atmosphere conducive for the quality production. In such situations, the organizations should seek realistic cultural change. Effective conflict management mechanisms should be set up to combat cultural conflicts. Thank you.